Welcome to the Spirituality Daily Podcast. I'm Jeff Reed, and these are my thoughts on the prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. For the past couple of months or so, I've been meditating on the prayer of St. Francis as suggested by Eknath Easwaran as a part of his 8-point program. To say that meditating on the prayer is life-transforming would be putting it mildly. And of course, I've had a desire to make this wonderful, beautiful prayer an integral part of my life. As I was meditating this morning, I asked myself, what if I actually did it? What if, instead of just giving mental assent to this prayer as a wonderful ideal, I actually put it into practice in my daily life? What if we all actually did so? I have, of course, been inspired to live a more compassionate life and to consciously show more love toward others since I began meditating. But how much more life-transforming would it be to really put this prayer into practice in my daily life? Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. On a daily basis, at least on an intellectual level, I deeply appreciate the fact that God, who is the Lord of love, is enshrined not just in my own heart, but in the hearts of all. But I would love for that knowledge to move deeper into my heart and to become more real to me in my daily life. I would love for that knowledge that God is all and is in all to be so deeply ingrained in my being that it informs every thought that I have and every action that I take. I would love to be an instrument of God's peace in the world. And where there is hatred, I would love to sow love. There are so many places in our world where hatred abounds and love is desperately needed. For example, in our political and religious discourse, there is so much hatred and vitriol present on both sides of the fence and on each topic. I'm ashamed to say that I've been a part of participating in and spreading that hatred and vitriol. But I'm only human and have only blindly been going along with the flow of what is sadly normal now in our political and religious discussions and debates, allowing my emotions to run free, and for the moment ignoring the fact that my opponent on the other side of the fence or on the other end of the religious or political spectrum is a living, thinking, feeling human being who in all likelihood loves God and country just as much as I do. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. What if all of us made a conscious effort to put aside the emotions that can inflict so much damage and chose instead to listen to and hear the other group's point of view with an attitude of love and did our best to understand instead of criticize? To those who would say in response, well, that would be nice, but it's not the real world, I would ask, why can't it be? Why shouldn't it be? What, besides a cynical, jaded attitude toward the idea and a lack of willingness to make a positive change is keeping you, me, or anyone else from it. Every one of us has the freedom to choose how we will respond at any moment to any given situation. We can respond to those whom we disagree with either with anger and vitriol or with an attitude of understanding and love. The choice is ours to make. It really is just that simple. As Eknath Easwaran relates in his powerful book entitled Passage Meditation, it may seem old-fashioned, but I would recommend standing guard over the gate of the mouth to ensure that only the right kind of words come out. It is another form of sense training. Vulgar speech, sarcasm, gossip, even pointless chatter should all be denied exit visas. The Sufis capture this idea in a splendid metaphor. They advise us to speak only after our words have managed to issue through 3 gates. At the first gate, we ask ourselves, are these words true? If so, let them pass on. If not, back they go. At the second gate, we ask, are they kind? If we still feel we must speak out, we need to choose words that will be supportive and loving, not words that embarrass or wound another person. At the final gate, we ask, are they necessary? They may be true, even kind, but it doesn't follow that they have to be uttered. They must serve some meaningful purpose. Do they clarify the situation or help someone? Or do they strike a discordant or irrelevant note? All of us understand what blows can do to someone, but we do not realize that words can create a more painful injury, one that can last for many years. Nor do we understand the terribly destructive impact that words can have on the consciousness of the person who uses them. What a change there would be in our political and religious discussions, and in our discussions on many other topics as well, of course, if all of us took the advice of the Sufis to heart concerning our words. And where there is injury, pardon. When we are injured, our natural conditioned response is to react with anger. When someone does something bad to us, or says something bad about us, our natural response is a desire to retaliate. But the much better way to respond, the way that promotes peace and that helps bring love into the world, is to choose to pardon those who have offended us. As the famous twin verses of the Dhammapada say, our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think. Suffering follows an evil thought as the wheels of a cart follow the oxen that draw it. Our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think. Joy follows a pure thought like a shadow that never leaves. He was angry with me. He attacked me. He defeated me. He robbed me. Those who dwell on such thoughts will never be free from hatred. He was angry with me. He attacked me. He defeated me. He robbed me. Those who do not dwell on such thoughts will surely become free from hatred. For hatred can never put an end to hatred. Love alone can. This is an unalterable law. Like most people have, I have encountered some bad people in life who have hurt and used me. One person named Rebecca stands out in particular. It's a long and a very embarrassing story, and some of the details I prefer to keep private. But suffice it to say that this woman, who I met over the internet, lied to me about who and what she was, and she used me for the web skills I possessed that she had need of, and when my usefulness was over, she got rid of me in a very cruel way. It made things all the worse that she knew that I had developed romantic feelings for her, and she used that knowledge to full advantage. Needless to say, it made the hurt of being used as I was much deeper. I have bipolar disorder that is very well controlled now, but back in those days I was very ill and very angry. Although violence does not normally come naturally to me at all, I was so enraged by the way Rebecca had treated me that I thought I could probably kill her if the opportunity ever arose. Haven't we all experienced angry thoughts that we would never actually act upon? It's just an unfortunate part of the human condition. But now, if I was to encounter Rebecca again, I would give her a big hug and let her know that I forgive her. How she would choose to respond to that would be entirely up to her. The important thing for me is to do the forgiving. Continuing to hate Rebecca and continuing to feel anger toward her serves no purpose except to make me miserable. Responding with love and forgiveness brings healing not just to me, but to the whole situation. Where there is doubt, faith. Who hasn't doubted their abilities, their worth, or their faith in God at some point in time? The highest and most wonderful service we can render to anyone who is experiencing those painful times of doubting is to lift them up, give them encouragement, love them, and remind them that even in our times of questioning and doubting, God is always present and that He will never leave them or forsake them. When we are responding with love and compassion, there is no room for judgment or criticism. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Before my bipolar illness was diagnosed and successfully brought under control, I spent years experiencing a great deal of despair and depression, and I went through some really dark and miserable times. I feel a tremendous amount of gratefulness toward my loving and supportive family, my knowledgeable and compassionate physicians, and everyone else who helped me regain my health. There are many people in this world who are suffering for any number of reasons. We live in a troubled world, and problems such as hunger, poverty, disease, crime, alcoholism, drug addiction, violence, racism, physical and mental abuse, and many other serious issues afflict far too many of us, causing tremendous suffering. There are no easy fixes to these problems, but again, the highest service we can render those who are suffering is to love them, to assure them that there is hope, and when we have the power to do so, to offer them a way out of their suffering. Love brings healing, and when we are busy loving others and serving them, it is impossible to criticize them and judge them at the same time. Where there is sadness, joy. There are many reasons for sadness in this life, too. Who of us hasn't experienced the pain of the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job, for example? When we encounter someone who is experiencing sadness in their life, the highest and greatest service we can render to them is to comfort and console them and do what we can to bring joy back into their life. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. The whole thrust of this wonderful prayer is to inspire us to live life in such a way that it brings transformation not just to our own lives, but also to the lives of others. When we put our own needs aside and choose to live a life of service toward others, we unleash the incredible power of love and the joy of seeing the lives of others positively transformed because of our efforts in their behalf. is ours to enjoy. What better way and more joyful way of life can there possibly be than to dedicate ourselves to the task of transforming hatred into love, injury into pardon, doubt into faith, despair into hope, darkness into light, and sadness into joy. As St. Francis so truthfully has said, when we give to others, we receive. When we pardon others, we too are pardoned. And when we die to ourselves, we are born to eternal life. A life of peace, love, and joy that will never fade away. As Jesus said in Matthew 16:25, "For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." This is the prayer that guides my life, and if you haven't already done so, I hope you will consider making it yours too. St. Francis gave us the formula for a happy, joyful, fulfilled, and deeply meaningful life centuries ago. It's up to us now to put it into practice in our lives and then watch as the love and compassion we share with others ripples out from us and our entire world is transformed. Namaste.